say, we've got different links for each session.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
No go?
I see nothing.
Right.
Jury 3 is Coral. I've got nothing.
Oh, so you got me. Yep, that's right.
Well, what's going on? Why am I getting? I've done it a few times. The referees are all here. The referees.
Do I not already have it on?
Yes, you do. We're ready to rock.
Good morning and welcome to the 2021 Australian Under-15 and Youth Championships. This is session 2, which is the women's 49 kilogram bodyweight category. I'm your host, Linda Eads, currently in Sydney, New South Wales. This weekend, we were meant to be in Hobart having our first face-to-face national competition in over a year, but COVID put a stop to that. So rather than letting the pandemic get the better of us, we decided to make the most of the current situation and utilise the technology to its fullest to ensure these young lifters get an opportunity to display their skill and strength on the platform. These athletes have maintained their training programs to peak for this event, and now they'll compete for the title of Australian champion. I'll introduce them to you now. Our first athlete from New South Wales is Natasha Bowe. From Tasmania, we have Malara Howe. From Queensland, Olivia Coker. From Western Australia, Gabrielle McLean. From Queensland, Amelia Bader. Also from Queensland, Ellie Tulula. And from Tasmania, Charlie Adams. Our technical officials for this session, also joining us from various locations around Australia, are referee Dan McGavin, referee Damon Kelly, referee Jessica Edge. Our timekeeper and marshal this morning is Ian Moyer. And our jury president, Pedro Sanchez, jury member, Lynn Jones, and jury member, Coral Quinnell. We will be communicating with coaches via the online change portal, which will allow them to enter weight changes so the competition can run as if it would if we were all lifting together in one location. We've laid out ground rules for our athletes, coaches and officials, and we've done our best to simulate the elements of an in-person competition. So our timekeeper, our marshals will be running the scoring system and entering weight changes from coaches as they come in. The order of lifting will proceed as if the athletes were sharing the platform. As always, each athlete will have 3 attempts at the snatch and a 10-minute break, and then 3 attempts at the clean and jerk. Each of their best lifts will be added together to provide a total for the competition. Athletes following themselves will, however, be given 3 minutes. And our clock is now set at 1 minute, and it will be for our first lifter, who is from Tasmania, Malara Howe.
Down.
And that was a good opening attempt there for Malara on 21 kilos. So the call will now go to Tasmanian lifter Charlie Adams, 22 kilos. And that bar just being changed over for Malara, for Charlie there, so that it is 22.
Pedro, do you want me to try this now?
It's okay. Then just hit your decision when you see the lift. But try
Okay.
now if you wish. Yeah, go on.
He hasn't done it yet. I can see him at least.
So we're on in Tasmania with our lifter Charlie Adams for her first attempt. And that was a good lift for Charlie's opening attempt there on 22 kilos. We now will see Tasmanian lifter Malara Howe at 23 kilos.
It's not worked, Pedro.
So all of our lifters this morning competing in the same bodyweight
didn't see
category,
it,
in the
mate.
49
sorry.
kilo category.
It could be my end. I don't know. I'm seeing the referees.
Unfortunately, no lift for Malara there on 23 kilos. So that will change the order of lifting, and we'll now see the Tasmanian lifter Charlie Adams come out and attempt the same weight. So 1 minute on the clock for Charlie. The coaches this morning are sending changes through via the online change portal. Most will be using that on their phone. So call is for Charlie Adams, second attempt. And we've got a change through from Charlie. So we'll now go back to Malara and 23 kilos for her third attempt. And Malara is from Tasmania also. So Charlie just taking some extra weight there. And unfortunately, no lift there for Malara, but she was successful with her opening attempt, so she's on the board. So the call now go to Tasmanian lifter Charlie Adams for her second attempt and 24 kilos. Ellie from Queensland, please prepare.
Down.
And a good lift there for Charlie
Down.
on 24 kilos.
Oh, down.
So 25 kilos on the bar for Charlie. So 3 minutes has commenced counting down for Charlie. So normally the clock would stop when the bar is being loaded, but on this online version of the competition, when a lifter is taking consecutive lifts, they just get an extra minute to allow for the loading of the bar. So 25 kilos is the call for Charlie Adams. And the load is adding more weight on, so we'll just see if the change comes through on the scoreboard there. Yep, 26 kilos now for Charlie Adams' third attempt. So currently Charlie in the lead in this women's 49 kilo weight category. And 7 lifters in this group, all weighing very, very similar body weights.
Down.
And another good lift there for Charlie, 3 from 3 this morning. That will now see our lifter from Ellie come to the platform for her first attempt. So just giving Charlie a good lift, and the bar now needs to be 27 kilos for Ellie Tuluea from Queensland.
Down. That's a good lift, Linda.
And a good lift there for Ellie on her opening attempt at 27 kilos. So we'll just mark that as a good lift for Ellie. And we will then see Olivia Coker come to the platform from Queensland for her opening attempt. So 1 minute on the clock for Olivia.
Pedro, I haven't got any shot from Queensland. I'm still back in Tasmania.
Something's going on with your spotlighting. Because what happened then?
So there's been a few
I didn't
changes
see
of
that
call
one either.
come through. And so Olivia took more weight, and now Ellie has taken more weight. And we're back with Olivia. And we need 30 kilos on the bar for Olivia from Queensland and a 1 minute clock.
Queensland. Hang on.
Okay, you should have a screen that says Shay Cocker. That's the Queensland lifter.
I should have
Down.
watched.
At the bottom.
And that
There's
was a
little
good
screens
lift
there.
for Olivia on 30 kilos for her opener. And we now see 30 kilos stay on the bar. And it is for Ellie, also from Queensland, for her second attempt.
Yeah, Pedro, I can see the name at the bottom here, but I can't get it to come up.
Yeah. If you're right, have you got a big screen showing it all for Tasmania?
Yeah.
All right. Right click on it and say stop spotlighting.
Right click on it. Right. I've done that.
Yeah. And
Nothing
it should
happened.
give you options.
So the
Nothing
call
happened.
is
I've done no
currently
link.
for Ellie.
Down.
And a good lift for Ellie's second attempt there on 30 kilos. So we'll now see the call stay with Ellie and 31 kilos on the bar and a 3 minute clock. So the call is on now 31 kilos for Ellie from Queensland, second attempt.
I'm still in Tasmania.
Down.
So the call is for Ellie Tulua from Queensland. Okay, Ellie's taken more weight. So we now go to the first attempt of Natasha Bowe from New South Wales, 32 kilos. And we'll put a 1 minute clock on there for Natasha.
Okay, all right, let's go, Natasha.
All right, come on, Natasha.
Come on, Natasha. And right to down signal. Come on. That's it, yep. Wait.
Down.
There you go.
And a good lift there for Natasha on her opener at 32 kilos. We now go back to Olivia Coker from Queensland, 33 kilos on the bar and a 1 minute clock.
Down.
And a good lift again for Olivia on 33 kilos. The bar now remains on 33 kilos and it goes back to Natasha Bowe from New South Wales, although I'm sure we will see that weight go up. And it has, so it now goes to Ellie Tulua from Queensland, 33 kilos. Unfortunately, no lift there for Ellie. She was successful with her second attempt though. And we'll now see the first attempt from Queensland lifter Amelia Bader, 34 kilos on the bar, 1 minute on the clock.
Come on, Amelia. Go, Amelia.
Go, Amelia.
Let's wait.
Wait.
All right, it should be right.
Wait.
Oh,
Wait.
down. Yeah.
And a good lift for Amelia on 34 kilos. So we'll now see the second attempt for New South Wales lifter Natasha Bowe. So 35 kilos on the bar, 1 minute on the clock.
Come on, Natasha. That's it, cool. Press up again, come on.
Down.
And a good lift for Natasha on 35 kilos. We'll now see the lifting go to Olivia Coker at 36 kilos from Queensland. Unfortunately, no lift there for her third attempt. And so that will now bring us back to the third attempt of Natasha Bowe from New South Wales, although I'm sure we'll see a weight change come through for that. So Gabrielle McLean, please prepare. Yep, there we go. So the call is now for Gabrielle McLean, West Australia, 37 kilos.
When you're ready.
Go, Gabs.
Get nice and tight, yeah? Come on. Finish that pull. Come on. Let's go. Hold it.
Down.
And a good opening attempt there for Gabrielle McLean from West Australia. Seeing that Queensland lifter, Amelia Bader, and 37 kilos also on the bar. So we just put a 1 minute clock on for Amelia.
Let's go, Emilio.
Go, Amelia.
Come on, Amelia. Good pull. Come on.
Come on, Amelia.
Oh, lights. This one. Down. There we go.
And a good lift for Amelia on 37 kilos. We'll now go back to Natasha Bowe from New South Wales, 37 kilos on the bar, 1 minute on the clock.
Really aggressive in that pull. Come on.
Come on, Natasha. Close. Punch and chest up. Come on, push, push.
And no lift for Natasha there on 37 kilos. We'll now see Amelia Bader from Queensland, 39 kilos on the bar, third attempt. Gabrielle, please prepare. So second attempt for Gabrielle McLean now. So 40 kilos on the bar and second attempt.
Violent pull from the knees, Gabs. Come on. Finish that pull, Gabs. Come on. Violent. Go. Okay. There you go.
Down.
And just waiting for the decision to come through there from the
That's a good lift.
referees. And that was a good lift by majority there for Gabrielle on 40 kilos. So Amelia Bader from Queensland is now the lifter, 40 kilos, 1 minute on the
Amelia.
clock.
Come on. Come on. Come on, wait.
Down.
Wait.
Down.
Hey.
And a good lift there for Amelia on 40 kilos for her third attempt. It's now the final attempt for the snatch session, and it is the third attempt of West Australian Gabrielle McLean, 42 kilos.
Down.
And a no lift there by majority for Gabrielle McLean on 42 kilos. She was successful with her previous attempt. That completes the snatch portion of session 2 here at the Under 15 and Youth AWF Championships. We will have a 10-minute break and we will see you back very, very shortly. So stay tuned.
No
Welcome back to the 2021 Australian Under 15 and Youth Championships. We're underway with session 2, which is the women's 49 kilogram bodyweight category. We've got 7 lifters in this session, and we're almost ready to start the clean and jerk portion of the competition. Our first lifter in this section will be from Tasmania, Malara Howe, 26 kilos on the bar, and we've got 1 minute on the clock.
Down.
And that's a good lift for Malawa there on 26 kilos. And we now see 3 minutes on the clock for the same lifter, and it will be a 27 kilo bar. So I'm sure we'll see a change come through. Charlie Adams, please prepare. You could be the lifter to follow. So welcome if you have just joined us watching on the live feed. And the 3 minute clock counting down is because Malara is following herself, taking consecutive lifts, and we are not allowing time for loaders as we would normally in a face-to-face competition. So I'm sure we'll see a change come through because the bar is being loaded. So 28 kilos on the bar being loaded for Malara Howe from Tasmania, second attempt. Call stays with Malara. And the coaches are using the online change portal, which they would be most likely using through their phone to change the weight selected rather than having a marshal table like we would if this was in one venue. But the process is the same and all the guidelines are the same around that. There has to be a declaration in the first 30 seconds on a 2 minute clock when an athlete is taking consecutive lifts that allows 2 more changes. And here's Malara, second attempt.
Down.
And a good lift by majority there for Malara on 28 kilos. So the bar goes to 29 kilos and 3 minutes on the clock for Malara as she is the next lifter. So changes come through. So 30 kilos being loaded onto the bar for Malara. Charlie Adams, you'll be the lifter to follow. So that extra minute is added to the 2 minute clock to allow for loading time. It is interesting to see the time it takes to load the bar because we don't usually have a clock on during that process. So third attempt for Malara Howe, now into her lifting time on the clock.
Down.
And a good lift there for Malara, 3 white lights and 3 from 3 in the clean and jerk. We now go to Tasmanian lifter Charlie Adams, and we need 31 kilos on the bar. and it is for her first attempt. So clock sets to 1 minute. So the call is on Charlie Adams from Tasmania.
Down.
And a good lift there for Charlie on her opener at 31 kilos. So the call will stay with Charlie. We'll see 3 minutes on the clock, and 32 kilos needs to be loaded to the bar, and that clock is counting. Although the loaders look like they're waiting for that call to come through. Normally, if this was a live competition face-to-face, they would be loading that automatic increment. It could be stopped and the coaches would be waiting for that process to take place. But with this live competition, when lifters are taking consecutive attempts, the clock continues to count down, but they do have an extra minute. And there we go. The changes come in for Charlie, and 34 kilos is the call, and it will stay with Charlie. So the clock continues to count down while the loaders make those amendments to the weight on the bar. So 34 kilos there for Charlie Adams. And this is her second attempt. Natasha Bowe from New South Wales, you'll be the lifter to follow. So all of these lifters here this morning competing in the 49 kilo body weight category.
Down.
And a good lift there for Charlie, and a good save on that recovery there. So we now go to New South Wales lifter Natasha Bowe, 35 kilos for her first attempt.
Down.
And that was a good lift for Natasha's opening attempt there at 35 kilos. We now go back to Tasmanian lifter Charlie Adams for her third attempt, 35 kilos. So loaders just adding a little bit more weight on there. So just wait for the scoreboard to be updated. Yep, there we go. So 36 now is the call for Natasha Bowe for her second attempt. I'm sure there'll be more weight added onto that bar as well. And coaches putting those changes through via the online change portal. So, Charlie, please prepare. You could be the lifter to follow. Currently, the call is for Natasha Bowe, though. 36 kilos. Yep, the change is now reflected on the scoreboard. So, back with Charlie for her third attempt, 36 kilos.
I'm going into town.
So here's Charlie.
Down.
And a good lift there for Charlie on her third attempt. 6 from 6 today. That's great work. We now go back to New South Wales lifter Natasha Bowe for her second attempt, 38 kilos.
Down.
And a good lift by majority there for Natasha on 38 kilos. We now go to the first attempt of Queensland lifter Ellie Tuluahu from Queensland, 39 kilos, 1 minute on the clock.
I'm still in Tasmania.
Yeah, it's you must have your screen pinned. Down.
And a good opener there for Ellie on 39 kilos. We now see the bar stay at 39 kilos, but go back to New South Wales lifter Natasha Bowe for her third attempt. Amelia Bader from Queensland, please prepare. So weight change has come through. So we now are going to Queensland lifter Amelia Bader for her opening attempt in the clean and jerk. So Amelia taking more weight. So we now go to Natasha Bowe for her third attempt and 40 kilos. 1 minute on the clock.
Down.
And that was a good lift for Natasha. 3 white lights there. So we now move to Queensland lifter Amelia Bader, 42 kilos on the bar for Amelia. Ellie, please prepare.
Come on.
Yep.
Come on. Come on. Drive it. Wait, wait. Wait,
Down.
wait.
And a good lift for Amelia on her opening attempt there. So 42 is the weight still on our board, and it is for the second attempt of Ellie from Queensland.
Down.
And unfortunately, no lift there for Ellie, 2 red lights. So the call will stay with Ellie, and we'll see a 3-minute clock for her. And 42 is still the weight required. So when a lifter is not successful with a lift, there is no automatic increment applied. It remains on the same weight. A coach can change the weight though. There's no difference there. They still have the opportunity to make a first change or verification, and then they can make 2 changes following that. And in a normal 2-minute clock, that verification needs to be done in the first 30 seconds, and then 2 more changes can be made in the following minute. There are no changes that can occur in the last 30 seconds of either a 1-minute or a 2-minute clock. So it looked like the loaders just reset that bar for Ellie and leaving the weight at 42 kilos. And Ellie is competing in the under 15 section of the competition. So our under 15 lifters are up to the age of 15 this year, 2021. And the youth portion of the competition are lifters up to the age of 17 the calendar year. So the call is currently with Ellie from Queensland for her 3rd attempt. Amelia, please prepare. You'll be the lifter to follow.
Down.
And a good lift there for Ellie and a good recovery save and holding that till she got the down signal. So we now go to Amelia Bader from Queensland for her 2nd attempt, 45 kilos.
Come on, Amelia. Good
Go,
job.
Amelia.
Come on. Come on. Big lift now. Come on. Come on, up.
Easy. Come
Come
on.
on, drive. Wait.
Down.
And a no lift there for Amelia, 2 red lights. So we'll see the weight stay at 45 kilos and a 3-minute clock for Amelia Bader from Queensland. Olivia Coker, please prepare. So our referees today and tomorrow are also using a digital light system. So similarly, they would have a box in their lap with a red button and a white button if this was a face-to-face competition. And in this version, they have on their phone or tablet a similar setup, so a digital display with a red button and a white button, and that's through which they're making their decisions for the lifters. So 46 kilos is the call now for Amelia. So she's taken an extra kilo. And the call still stays with her for her 3rd attempt at the clean and jerk. The bar just being adjusted there. So the call's still for Amelia, 46 kilos for her 3rd attempt.
Let's go, Amelia.
Come on.
Go, Amelia.
Come on, this is what we want
Got
there.
this.
Come on. Punch it. Good clean. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, come on, punch
Let's go to
it
the
now. Come on. Oh, a lot better. Wait.
Down.
Wait.
Yeah.
And a good lift there for Amelia. Much relief on
Got
that
it.
face there. So we now go to Olivia Coker from Queensland, 49 kilos on the bar, 1 minute on the clock. So our Queensland lifter, Olivia Coker, first attempt.
Down.
And a good lift for Olivia's opening attempt there on 49 kilos. We'll now go to West Australia with Gabrielle McLean and 50 kilos on the bar, 1 minute on the clock.
Here we go, Gabs. Come on. All right, let's go. Sit down. Hold it. Hang on.
Down.
Down. Gabs, hey, let's go.
And a good lift there for Gabrielle on her opening attempt at 50 kilos. We'll now go back to Queensland lifter Olivia Coker. No, Olivia's taking more weight. And we'll go to stay with Gabrielle, and a 3-minute clock is now counting, and 51 kilos is the call on the bar. I'm sure, though, that was a very strong opening attempt. I'm sure we'll see that weight go up. And our coach is just using that online change portal to send through those changes. Okay, so it looks like a change has come through or is coming through. So the call's still on Gabrielle. No, so Gabrielle's gone up, and the call is now back with Olivia Coker, Queensland, 52 kilos on the bar, and clock is counting.
Down.
And a good lift for Olivia there on her second attempt. So 53 is now the call on the bar for West Australian lifter Gabrielle McLean. 1 minute on the clock.
Same again. Come on, Gabs. Test. Come on. Right, let's go. Punch it out. Come on. Hold it.
Down.
Yes, down, Gabs. Good.
And 3 white lights there. Good lift for Gabrielle on her second attempt. So we now move back to our Queensland lifter, Olivia Coker, for 54 kilos on the bar. So Olivia currently in the lead in the under 15 section of this competition. Gabrielle competing in the youth category.
Down.
And a good lift. And my apologies, that actually puts Olivia in the lead with that lift in the under 15 portion of the competition. So now we go to Gabrielle. We'll set 1 minute on the clock for Gabrielle from West Australia. 57 kilos is the call on the bar. And it is West Australian lifter Gabrielle McLean. Third attempt, and that'll be the final lift of session 2. So we'll just get 1 minute on the clock for Gabby.